dangerous not only to women, but also to men. All of us have probably heard of the dangers of unreasonable expectations placed on women, but how many of us have considered those placed on men? Many people argue that feminism only advocates for women, that it does not consider the stress of the social construct of masculinity on men. Today I'm going to show how there is a case for how traditional masculinity is dangerous, by explaining the social construct of masculinity, exemplifying its dangers to both society and to individuals. First, let's understand what masculinity is. Masculinity, or traditional masculinity, is a set of social gender roles. These dictate the general traits and the usual behaviors of an individual identified as man. It's important to remember that nobody chooses to adhere to this social constraint. It is an unconscious, socially assigned construct based on a baby's genitals at birth. Let's take a look at the differences that parents naturally treat their children with. Holloway, in her article Masculinity is Killing Men, notes that baby girls are seen and thus treated as more fragile than baby boys. Comparatively, baby boys are presumed to be angry when they might be sad, and are generally encouraged to be more competitive than baby girls. These traits, then, considered masculine, are instilled from an early age. Holloway notes that by the age of 3 or 5 years, boys begin to restrict their emotional expressiveness. Remember, this doesn't mean they have less emotion, it's just they don't express it as much. We can see how this translates to the experiences of adult masculinity. Our men are expected to be strong, unemotional, providing, but not provided for. It is not unusual to see an angry man, or surprising to hear of a domestic abuse committed by men. Sad, yes, but not shocking. Considering how these traits are so prevalent in society, let's look at how they represent dangers to society. Globally, we are not surprised about masculine violence. We have all seen the news and will hopefully realized that violent crimes like murder, rape, shootings are generally committed more by males. One of the comparisons that always comes to my mind is that when boys are little, we say to the girls they shove and steal from that the boys probably like them. We all grew up with that mantra, didn't we? Oh, he shoved you. Oh, he must like you. It's a middle school thing, right? And in high school, if a guy ignores or avoids a girl, there's probably chatter about how he likes her. But when a guy is 20, 30, 40, and he shoves his girlfriend, that's domestic abuse. Even just walking away from her at a bad time and when she might need help, that's neglect to an extent. But we have forgotten to teach our boys where that boundary lies. We have taught our men to be angry, to be loud, to be dominant. But when we abruptly or unreasonably take the opportunity to be so away from them, some retaliate with methods that prove all of these things. Say, a twisted show of strength. Gilligan of Harvard Medical School, quoted in Holloway's article, states, "I have yet to see a serious act of violence that was not provoked by the experience of feeling shamed and humiliated, disrespected and ridiculed, and that did not represent the attempt to prevent or undo the loss of face, no matter how severe the punishment, even if death." Now that we have seen the detrimental effect of masculinity on society, let's zoom in and see its destruction on men themselves. Stoke-Hunter notes in their article, men are more likely to engage in risky behaviors like smoking and alcoholism. They are less likely to seek medical assistance for afflictions they deem minor. Brooks dedicates in a 2003 article to how masculinity, as a social construct, restricts men from achieving the best possible mental health. He notes that antisocial personality disorder, paraphilias, and OCD are all 2 to 3 more times common in men than in women. And in Inkel, in 2014, reminds us that other behaviors that threaten men may be less recognized in things like media and everyday conversation, but they are just as common as in women. Consider, for an example, self-injury. How many times have we seen reference to this in TV episodes, daily conversation, even just minor implications of it? But take a second to tally up how many times you've seen it in reference to men. Finally, Haggett in 2014 reminds us that 75% of all suicides are men. Now, these differences are partially, but only partially, attributable to complaints, reporting, and methods. Again, this is also based in the construct of masculinity and what we deem appropriate for men to admit to, own up to. It's not appropriate for a man to be weak, is what we've learned, right? So sometimes owning up to these afflictions can be seen as such. As you can see, the social construct of masculinity is extremely destructive on all fronts. Today, I have showed you what masculinity is as a social concept and described how it is dangerous both to society as a whole and to individuals. I hope that by my speech today, I have brought to light these things, convinced you to take an in-depth look at the way our society is treating masculinity, reminded you that these are the concepts feminists recognize, and proved to you why we need to be aware of how we treat our children and our partners. I'd also like to take a second to remind you to look at the handout that I passed out for more detail on what I've discussed and some concepts to look up on your way home. So yes, I am a feminist. Yes, I hope you are too. But I'll leave you with this thought. Don't believe in the fiction of patriarchal security. Thank you.